It was no ordinary Saturday. As the sun bowed its head to nightfall on that early September evening, the major looked out from his post and saw enemy warships coming up the body of water surrounding the fortification just outside the city. His sixth sense told him that they were about to come under siege. On Tuesday morning, his worst fears became reality as shelling began from the vessels stationed out on the river. Immediately, orders were given to open up, return fire. But sadly, all of our shots fell short. The enemy's warships could fire their 200-pound shells the distance of 2 miles. Our cannons, though very powerful, could only reach 1.5 miles. The men felt hopeless as heavy rain began to fall. For 8 long hours, the men endured this fighting until about 2 p.m. when a scream soared across the overcast sky as a shell detonated above the men. And the explosion immediately killed Lieutenant Levi Claggett. And a piece of the rocket casing 2 inches thick passed diagonally through the body of Sergeant Clem. And the brave soldier fell to the feet of Isaac Monroe. The young private grabbed his friend as he gave up his final breaths of life for the cause of freedom and for the independence of America. The enemy, sensing the despair and confusion, moved 3 of their warships in closer, hoping to take control. The situation seemed most distressing, but the men did not shirk from the conflict. The words of Patrick Henry echoed from beyond the grave. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant. It is to the active. And it is to the brave. The major, as he saw the warships come closer into range, he gave the orders to open up, return fire. Shot after shot sprang out as cannons ignited with the sound of American defense. And within the span of 30 minutes, the enemy would retreat back out of range. Cheers went up from the men as they celebrated a brief victory. But the battle was not over. The major knew that if they failed to protect the city, it would fall. And so too, possibly, could the nation. The enemy continued to shell the fortification incessantly throughout the evening and into the night. Thunder echoed across the sky as lightning pierced through the darkness. At 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning, the enemy dispatched 1,250 men in smaller vessels, hoping to reach the shore and overthrow this American band of brothers. But the enemy did not realize that there was men there willing to lay down their lives for one another. And the major, sensing the danger as if he'd been touched on the shoulder by Almighty God, gave the orders to open up their entire battery of weaponry in defense of the city. This united group of Army and Navy and citizen soldiers banded together, willing to give their lives for one another. And by 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning, the sky had been ablaze for more than 2 hours with rockets and cannons filling the air. The enemy had fired more than 1,800 shots and explosions, but they had not accomplished their goal. The city had not fallen. America was still a union of independent states, united in the cause of liberty. And the enemy had but one choice, and that was to retreat back out of range. The country had been saved by this united group of brothers. And at 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, as the rain and fog began to cease, the major gave the command to fire a single cannon shot. As the small storm flag was lowered and a massive garrison flag was raised above the rampart for all the world to see. And then, in the distance, out on a small vessel, a young man saw that flag and, moved with emotion, he wrote these words: on the shore, dimly seen, through the mists of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes. What is that which the breeze over the towering steeps, as it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines on the stream. 'Tis the Star Spangled Banner, oh long may it wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. The words of the young lawyer reminded the country that freedom has a cost. And every day, somewhere in America, people honor those men who died when they stand, remove their hats, and they sing the poem of Francis Scott Key. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave? No greater love than this, than a man would lay down his life for his friend.